Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Prajakta, for the very kind words. Thank you so much. A very heartfelt gratitude and thank you to Mr. Deepak Sahu and the entire team at VAR India for having me here. As much as the word image scientist is kind of a, shall I say, ambiguous term for people in IT, you would typically believe that image is everything to do with the pics and images you talk of when you talk of images, like in your hardcore, tech-savvy, geeky atmosphere. Well, the image I talk of is slightly different. I'm happy that I'm the first speaker in one way, because after that, I think it's going to get very, very tech-savvy when I'm going to do a lot of learning. So in the 15 minutes that I have with you, I'm here, like she said, to share something in terms of you as people. When we talk of organizations, we're not talking of concrete and brick and cement. We're talking of people. So while we do our infrastructure building, the fact is, somewhere down the line, we as individuals need to understand that we are the core essence of our organizations. And so I think it's time that all of us relook at ourselves and understand what are we made up of, so that we can contribute concretely to our organizations in our own way. This entire journey of image management that I have pursued over my research is more to do with kind of, shall I say, it vibes with the theme today when you're talking of digital transformation. We are doing a lot of stuff today digitally. It is a digital era at the end of the day. But like I said, when we're talking of us as individuals, we all have to understand that we all leave digital footprints, which are kind of permanent in nature. How we are, how we appear to be, and how we are perceived by people across us is solely dependent on how you evaluate and control your image as you move along. So then what is image really? Let me just share with you a short definition of sorts, which I coined while I was doing my research. It's basically an ongoing process. It's a continuous process. And of course, a proactive one, because it's not going to happen without any action from you. So this process consists of evaluating and controlling the impact. Can I shut this? Yeah. The impact you make in terms of your appearance and the resulting response on you and others. Mind you, my friends, when I say appearance, I do not mean what you look like in terms of your dressing. No. Appearance is you in entirety, you as a brand, you as an entity, which will include the way you dress, of course, because at the end of the day, people see you the way you are, right? So it involves the way you dress, the way you appear to people in terms of your communication, your body language, your verbal skills, your tonality of voice, your etiquette, how you come across, how you present yourself, your grooming, and of course, most importantly, your self-concept. Self-concept is that rational mental picture we have about ourselves in our minds, and that comes from your value system, your ethics, your beliefs, and whatever you think and you feel comes to the forefront in terms of the external appearance to a person. So in short, how you behave and how you respond to people is actually a trigger process from your mind and your heart. They always say that whenever you sow a thought, we all know the mind is like a garden. While we can sow a lot of seeds to get great flowers, nature's law says that nothing grows in vacuum. And so eventually weeds do come up. So it's in our hands to make sure that the weeds are actually pulled across by sitting on your knees with a shovel, or just taking a machine, a mowing machine, and just going right past and scraping it from the level, but having the roots still right within the ground. So your thought will lead to some action, that thought which is triggered by your value system, your ethics. And ethics today has taken a lot of predominance in the corporate world across, in fact, all organizations. So that thought, when you sow a good thought, it is going to reap some action, because no action will be triggered without the thought. And an action repeatedly done will create a habit. That habit, my friends, determines your character, which eventually builds your reputation for yourself. So when any of us get onto social media and we think that it is extremely happening, as they say, or very cool to comment on maybe whatever topic in a rather, shall I say, aggressive manner or flamboyant manner or little loose on verbiage, mind you, that digital footprint of yours, sorry, the digital footprint of yours that you're leaving somewhere in some server, somewhere across, has been stamped, and it's there permanently to be tracked. Hence, it's very important that when you send out a message across to people, you send the message you choose to send, and not follow or be a part of a peer group or under some kind of pressure of some kind, or even just say casual, episodes of, jest, wherein you make some comments of some kind and you regret it later. I want to share a very important sentence which I read once in my research work. It's a very short but very sensible sentence. I'd like you to hear this very carefully. You cannot not communicate. I'll repeat that. You cannot not communicate, which means what? You are constantly communicating. Every second, every minute that you are visible around, I'm not talking of the time when you're sleeping, that you're visible around people, you are sending out, you are emitting a message every single second. And it's not always with words. When you sit and talk, it's easier that way. But your body language, the way you are appearing, the way you are presenting yourself, all of that is constantly sending out a signal to people. And people are grasping it every single minute. Thus, it becomes very important that is the message you're sending across consistent? Is it authentic? Is it sustainable? Or is it just a facade? It becomes very important thus to evaluate and control the impact of that message you're making. A very interesting research that is widely acclaimed and accepted across the world today, which began way back in the 1950s. And now, of course, in 1972, the findings were declared. Today, people have become very aware of that. This gentleman called Albert Mehrabian, who's also known as the father of body language, shared the findings of the impact of a message that we make. It's a very interesting set of findings. He said that 55% of the impact of the message you make comes out of your appearance and your body language. 55%. 38% comes out of the tonality of your voice. And only 7% comes out of the content of what you actually speak. Can you imagine? And more than often, we choose to do the 7%. While that's very important, but at the end of the day, you're just waging a war which is tougher. You have to work very hard for the 93%. Whereas all you need to know is the little nuance of being able to manage your image a little more concretely in a little more concretized direction, a more crystallized manner. A little energy from all of us. We struggle in business. I'm an entrepreneur myself. We struggle so hard. We're getting business ideas, we're getting all kinds of innovation up our sleeves, maybe brainstorming and thought showers and all of that. All of us do that. But at the end of the day, if you are not able to present that package of an idea, whatever you have innovated, in the best possible manner, so that the listening party actually accepts it, you've pretty much lost that out, right? We've seen that. If many of us sitting here are entrepreneurs or for some time have ever been on the other side of the interview table, you realize a lot of people who come for interviews, they may know it technically. They may be very savvy. But at the end of the day, they may not have the potential or the prowess to be able to project what they want to say because of bad communication, because of lack of confidence, low self-esteem, and a million such issues. Today, it's become extremely imperative for each one of us, at whatever levels we are, because competition has spanned across all ages, all levels, all profiles. It is Darwin's theory in full play today. Survival of the fittest. If you want to be the one to shine and stand out in the zillions of crowd, then you need to be different. And to be different, you need to have the value add. Everybody is very technically savvy. But what is it that's going to give you a value add? Your persona. That extra wee bit that you can tweak into yourself, into the way you communicate and present yourself. And I think that should be able to take you to the next level. Am I done with 15 minutes? All right. I was trying to keep a tab on time. So in the little nutshell that I could present to you, I just want to tell you one thing, and I know that I'm very privileged to be here as part of a very tech-savvy audience. Like I said, I'm going to be learning a lot. Just one thing that I'd request each one of you to do, as much as many of us choose to ignore the fact that we, as people, first, and then comes in, of course, what you can contribute to your organization, we all have to understand that we need to evolve. We need to look at ourselves, introspect, look at ourselves critically. You are your best critic and mentor. So if you look and evaluate and see what is the scope for you to get better in any which way, I think the time has come. The time for a paradigm shift, to look inwards, have a rendezvous with yourself, and truly evaluate yourself objectively. Are you really worth it in a very objective manner as a fly on the wall? Worth it in all dimensions of image. Whether it's your verbal skills, your clothing, your etiquette, your self-concept, your grooming, everything. If you think there is scope to get better, start doing something about it. Because nothing will happen till you take some action. I'd like to wish you all a great evening ahead. Thank you for being a great audience. Thank you.